Good morning, everybody. Apostate Weekly. I'm your host, James.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're here to spread our apostasy. And as always, we remind you to apostate your way. Let's go ahead and roll that intro. Ah, the bones of David Splain being played like a flute.
Just need a little drumstick.
Well, you kind of hear it at the end there a little bit. You notice that? They're
Yeah, I just think of his bones rattling around in the closet, and eventually all those bones are going to come out.
That's probably what it sounds like inside their heads, too, of the governing body. Just all that crap rattling around.
One nut. They have that one nut that just kind of bobbles around the head.
They have a nut?
Well, it ain't a brain.
That's true.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our bantering.
Yes.
Yeah, well, this has been a very busy week with the news, especially with the whole Toni Morris thing dropping last week.
And yeah, that's been a whole whirlwind, right?
Yeah, no kidding. And all the theories going around as far as, why he got kicked off and what's going on. And the one that you sent yesterday.
I hit 3,000 subscribers. Sorry, I just saw that.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm tweeting that we're live, and of course it pops up my channel to tweet and it said 3,000 subscribers. Okay, sorry, did not mean to interrupt.
Well, no, that's fine. Speaking of subscribers, actually, we hit a milestone. We hit our first 100 subscribers on this channel. So thank you, everybody, for subscribing and spread the word out and, subscribe and like. And thank you for helping us reach that first milestone. Good morning, Mom and Dad.
That's amazing, right? Proud of us. That's really good news. This is some good news.
Yes.
Of anti-God's kingdom.
Anti-kingdom. Anti-kingdom.
Anti-kingdom. I'm all about it.
AK. Just don't add any numbers behind that.
Yes. That's the only AK I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Anti-kingdom. Nothing else. No numbers.
So I'd like you to go first with what you found about the
Kai's up early.
Toni Morris situation, the stuff that you found out.
Oh boy. Okay, so if anybody has been following along, or if you've not been following along, because that's always a possibility too. The Jehovah's Witnesses had a huge news release. Was that last week?
Yeah.
I think it was the end of last week, right?
It was last week after we finished our show.
That's right. Because we had a special on that Thursday right afterwards. Yep. Okay. Yep. So we learned last Thursday that Anthony Morris is no longer a governing body member of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And it was announced on the jw.org website. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they soon took that announcement down a few days after. So there is no longer any kind of announcement that he has been let go. So there's a lot of speculation. Did he step down? Was he forced to leave? In the announcement, they did call him brother. So that led a lot of us to believe that he still is an active and in good standing member of the Jehovah's Witnesses, just no longer a governing body member. Because we know how they very carefully word things, even though they're very flippant with how they handle things. They definitely do not get things right. We wonder if there was something in that wording to, let us know, okay, he still is an active and good standing. But the fact that they removed that announcement, that just makes me feel like something's not right, that maybe something's going on with Toni. Good morning, Matt Pig. And he is in trouble. Now, here's the speculation part. There is, and it could just be coincidental. We understand that doesn't necessarily mean that this is the case, but coincidentally, in Pennsylvania, there is a grand jury investigation going on into the abuses of the Jehovah's Witnesses, hiding information, not reporting to the police. The same song and dance that we've seen of the Jehovah's Witnesses do. They handle everything in house when it comes to abuses, issues, but it's always biased, right? Because it's the men, it's going to be the elders, the ministerial servants who have that pull, who have that say, who make the decisions. So if you're somebody who's been harmed or abused and you're going to the leaders of your church and they're just poo-pooing you and telling you you need to just forgive, you need to get over it, or he wouldn't do something like that, et cetera, is the typical response that happen that we get from these men in power. And again, could be coincidentally, but I just went through a young lady's story yesterday that I found out about in a Reddit post, and her name is I'm Your Huckleberry. But she was talking an awful lot about Anthony Morris. She was telling us her story, and she was abused by her father. Her mother and her told the elders. The elders covered it up for years. Nothing happened to him. And eventually they moved to Pennsylvania. Again, they told about what happened. Nobody did anything. It was a continuous cover up about the abuse. And where was I going with that? So unfortunately for this young lady, she went through years of abuse. Her mother went through years of trying to get her daughter help, and nobody would listen. But now, all of a sudden, one of the elders, is coming forward trying to clear his name in helping the investigation. So they've kind of switched teams. Where they were protecting the organization, now they're switching teams and saying they were just doing what they were told. So this is their claim, is I had clear instructions. I was coerced. This is not something I want to do, but this is just how we're taught to handle things. So he's turning on the Jehovah's Witnesses. And it makes me wonder, are there going to be more elders who could possibly be held accountable for hiding abuses, who will now want to, turncoat and help the district attorney with the grand jury investigation in Pennsylvania? So I'm wondering if she is tied to this young lady who was harmed. I'm wondering if she is tied to the investigation in Pennsylvania, because it was also ignored in Pennsylvania from
Right.
she lived. So I'm trying to get a hold of her. I don't want to say too much because, again, this is all just allegedly. I don't know if there is a connection, but it does seem super coincidental that Anthony Morris loses his position in the midst of a huge investigation.
Well, we had that other, remember in our Discord chat yesterday, somebody posted something else that, again, speculation. We don't know for sure. I just want to put that out there. But somebody made a comment on Facebook tying it directly to Anthony Morris that could be another possible reason why he was let go. And I'll show you here on the screen here. And
that's the young lady. Her name is, that's Selena. That's the one whose story I watched yesterday.
And it says here in her comment, it's related to Anthony Morris personally protecting my father, Anthony Vertimolo, 9 elders, 2 district overseers, and several other men involved in raping and torturing me and my sisters growing up within the Jehovah's Witnesses. This has been 4 years coming. So, wow. I mean, it's
huge, man. And I believe her. There's nothing in me going like, oh, can we? No, I believe her. It's just a matter of everything coming out, in the press. So we have evidence of, yes, this is a connection and this is what's happening.
And I can't help but to believe these people, because people are not going to just come out and say, for the most part. Now, there are rare exceptions.
Right.
But for the most part, people aren't going to come out and say, I've been abused in this way, XYZ, just for attention. They're saying it because it's true. They're
right.
And they're finally starting to see that the advocacy for them has picked up to a point where they know now that they get their story out there to be told, it's going to be heard, and it's not just going to be brushed under the rug anymore.
Because that's what they're used to. That's what we're all used to. We're all used to being coerced or forced to forgive, to let go. But they're so sorry. Look at how sorry they are. They'll cry, they'll do something, and then you feel as though, or the victim feels as though they have no choice but to forgive, because how dare I be so mean to somebody who wants to be forgiven?
And then the problem with that is that victim is now being re-victimized all over again.
Right.
And it's just a vicious cycle that, these cults and these religions keep people in. And that's also with that, especially if they still believe in the doctrine of the religion, keeps them in those religions. And they're just banging their head against a wall, trying to do the same thing and expecting different results. And that is the definition of insanity.
It certainly is. And it's getting insane, which is why things have to change, which is why policies have to change. And maybe that is what the Jehovah's Witnesses are trying to do. Maybe they're trying to revamp, but I don't see it happening. There is fresh blood, but I don't.
If there is any revamping and renewing, it's going to be subtle at first. They're not going to come out and just change things drastically and all of a sudden, hey, we're good now. No, they're going to just do things very little by little, but still, I don't think it's going to be the kinds of changes that are going to be helping people either. They're going to do pseudo changes
it's not going
to make it look like they're doing something.
Exactly. No, you are 100% right. On the surface, it might look like something's happening, like in their Shepherd the Flock book. Now, I don't think that the victim has to confront. I believe they changed that, but do we think that that's really happening everywhere? Come on. These old school elders are going to do what they do, how they want to do it.
I'll give you a perfectly good example. And I remember this because it was just the year after I woke up and left. In the June 2019 Watchtower, the study edition, they had that article about the, child sexual abuse and how they handle it. But see, in the whole article, not once did it say, call the police. It did say, we won't stop them from calling the police. And it's their right to call the police. But never once did it say, just call the police. And I remember after that article came out, my wife talked to her sister a little bit about it, who's still in. And she said, oh, no, they said for us to call the police in the article. I'm like, you obviously didn't read it. And that just shows how deep the brainwashing and indoctrination is, because you think they're saying one thing and they're not saying it at all.
It's those code words. It's all in like things that you would just gloss over or read over are super important to pay attention. Like I said in the announcement, said brother, like there's little keywords. And in that paragraph that you're talking about, they say something we don't discourage people from going to the police. We don't, but you don't encourage, right?
Yes,
like there's other things you encourage forgiveness, encourage meeting up, encourage getting the truth. But there's no encourage to go straight to the police.
Yes. It's that whole reading between the lines. You got to know their code words and buzzwords for things, because they do that a whole lot. And there's reasons they do that, because it's so they can cover their own behinds as much as they can on these things.
Yep. It's despicable, but it's something that we've come to expect. So I hope that maybe I can get a hold of this young woman and speak to her. It looks like she doesn't use her TikTok that often, so that could be hit or miss. But I do hope I can talk to her and just see how she's doing. Maybe even just offer support, because I can imagine she has just been through so much.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next article of the day.
All right.
And this one, for those who have been keeping up and following Mark O'Donnell, he's been keeping us updated on this case. Now, this is an elder out of Colorado who was sued. Was he sued? I don't know if he was sued, but he was convicted, at least, of CSA in Colorado. And this,
it's all right, baby girl.
This story, I'm very sad to share this because, well, I mean, they say about the evidence. Let me just go ahead and show what the article says here. Can everybody see that okay? Let me now go ahead and zoom in on that a little bit further here
just
for
a little
you.
bigger would work.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's good. I can see.
Okay. So this man was arrested. He was charged of sexual assault, and he had allegations stretching back for decades. And it says that it tells about all the things that he did here. I don't really want to get into that part.
Yeah.
And then, so he went to court over it and all that. And then, let's see here. This wasn't the same article I found last night, so the wording is a little bit different.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I know. There's so
I pulled
many.
up one article on my phone, and then when I pulled it up on the computer this morning, I didn't see the same one. So, let's see here, because this was just yesterday. Oh, I hate when that happens.
Oh dear.
Hang on, let me see if I can. Oh, here it is. Let me go ahead and zoom in. So here we go.
Yes, I know. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
The one that was dropped. Like,
yes.
What the F?
Yes.
What the F?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm yelling. I'm so pissed.
They dropped the charges because of insufficient evidence in the case, which the cases and allegations date back to the 1980s. And it says, despite this investigation into the child sexual assault, claims remain active, according to the Teller County Sheriff's Office. Now, one thing that kind of stood out to me on this, though, was that the prosecutors are going to continue to hold the items that they confiscated from him, but they only have 60 days to hold on to them and comb through them before they have to return his personal effects to him. So, keeping my fingers crossed that they find something, give these victims some justice.
Right.
But this was just sad that, somebody who's been accused, and like we talked about just a minute ago, I'm sure he did it. Oh,
absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Sorry. I just don't doubt it.
Nobody's going to speculate. Nobody's going to go and talk about it and tell about it if he didn't do it. No. Especially when there's multiple cases of it charged against him.
Exactly. That's
so
it just doesn't make sense.
But hopefully they find something. Hopefully this guy gets his behind in prison and the victims get justice that they deserve in this case. But it was just sad to see that this case was overturned like that.
I know, it's so disappointing, and I'm hoping that maybe there's still some chance in there as more things come to the forefront and the cases get built, that across the country more people will be willing to government systems will be willing to take on these cases, understanding that it's a culture. It's a culture that is being built. This is a place where there's it's a breeding ground for bad behavior, because those in power are always protected. Yes. And it's those who are, generally women or children, and little boys too. It happens to every and anybody, but it does more often seem to happen to people who don't get the same amount of respect inside the congregation, i.e. women and children.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm hoping that the more people that speak up, once the ball gets rolling on this investigation, that maybe we'll see it happen across other states too.
Yeah.
I'm
Hopefully,
hoping.
keeping our fingers crossed. I would love to see this snowball and go all across the country and all these cases get turned in, get tried, get convicted, and get these victims some justice that they deserve.
Absolutely. Everybody deserves their day in court. If they want that, their day in court, right? Everybody deserves justice. That's what the whole system is supposed to be set up for, that nobody has the right to infringe on your rights, but seems to happen all the time without any consequence.
And
So,
I was gonna say one thing as well. Everybody, congratulate Ryan on her new puppy that she got. You could see it in the background just now.
Oh, yeah, you probably heard her. My husband came down and she got a little.
Yeah, we just
saw
she
movement.
just walked behind you, so we just saw that on the camera.
Oh, did she? Oh,
yeah,
because I can't even freaking hear with these things on, so I didn't even hear her little. She was just laying here. Yeah, she's a cutie patootie, little pickles. My little pickle. I love my little pickle.
You're in a
but guess
pickle
what she
now.
did? Oh my. Okay, and this is my fault. Hi, baby girl. This is completely my fault because I need to get stuff cleaned up differently in the house because Buster was obviously a different dog and he didn't chew on stuff like that. But little Missy, she found Miss. Little Missy, don't mind my workroom. It's a mess as I'm trying to clean up down here. She got a hold of my Apple Watch and she ate my strap. She ate my strap. But she didn't eat the watch, right? Which
Good,
is
good.
thank goodness she didn't eat the watch. I mean, even if she did, but still I wouldn't want that in her tum-tum. But now I'm just waiting for her to go potty so I can make sure that strap comes out.
Well,
oh God.
Well, I
Oh
must say
God.
she is a strapping young dog.
She is a strapping young lady. Yes, she's so cute. Thank you. She has just been so sweet and we're so fortunate. We are just so fortunate. So yes, but she's taking a lot of my time and I got a lot of stuff, like I said, to get cleaned up around here because as you saw, it's a little bit of a mess. I've been trying to change my workroom around and
believe me, we know all about that. We've got 6 dogs ourselves, so
yes, so you
it's
understand.
always constantly,
Yes,
hey,
yes.
we got to pick this, we've got to pick that up. Can't leave it on the counter. Can't leave it this far
And
forward on the
food.
counter. Oh,
Yes.
food.
Oh,
my
food.
God.
Oh
Food.
God. Oh God. Oh God. Food.
I lose so
I'm
much
so
food with my
afraid. I'm so
dogs.
afraid. I don't know what she'll get into, but I'll get everything cleaned up. She's going to be fine. She's great.
Just remember, once you get a new strap for that watch, remember, keep on the watch.
Keep on the watch.
Keep on the watch.
Do you mind if I bring up one more article?
Sure.
Because
Go ahead.
I think this is very interesting language that I had never heard of, but it could set a precedent if the United Kingdom handles this process properly. Let me present this. So, in the United Kingdom, a court case was recently taken to the Supreme Court, and it's about vicarious liability. So basically trying to consider the elders, ministerial servants, somewhat of employees of the I mean, obviously they don't get paid, but they're using like that kind of employee law, vicarious liability. So if your employee goes out, does something silly on the job, the homeowner or whatnot can have recourse against the company versus just taking it out against this the person, the employee, the elder, the ministerial servant. Okay, so of course, similar story. What seems to happen? Somebody was abused and it was ignored. A woman was assaulted by a friend of the family who was an elder, Grape, and basically she was coerced to forgive him, and she did, but it came out, excuse me, that he also assaulted a 14-year-old girl. And that's when this woman was like, oh, hell no. Now we're done. Like, there is no forgiveness now. And they all this young lady, and I believe there might even have been another person that was injured by this man. So a couple people like try to stand up and go up and say, hey, this man is harming people, hold him accountable. And the elder said, the man who hurt these people said, you can't touch me. I'm an elder. Nobody can do anything about it. Well, that might not be the case, young man, because there's something called vicarious liability. And I'm just going to like explain it. So it's a legal concept that holds somebody responsible for the actions of another person. Like we're just talking, if there's an employer who could be held responsible for the actions of their employee while they're on the job. So if they do something stupid, wrong, hurt somebody, the person, the victim, can have recourse and sue for damages and liability, because obviously the employee is not going to have the funds like the employer who's responsible for this person does. And especially considering the Jehovah's Witnesses are sending these people to our door where harm can happen, they really should be responsible for these people.
Agreed.
So what the courts are trying to do is, and it's been, the hearing has been held. It has adjourned. There is no word yet. I don't know how long it's going to take to get their verdict, but hopefully what we're hoping is that they will hold the Jehovah's Witnesses vicariously liable for what their employee, their elder, their ministerial servants do to people. Again, I don't know the answer yet, but if we can get this precedent set in another country, maybe there's a possibility that that ball could get rolling here and continue to take it up the ladder instead of just the same stuff happening over and over again because there is no consequence.
Yeah.
So that's that. I hope I explained that okay and made it make sense to you all.
Well, if not, we'll all have to try to get our information vicariously through other sources.
Yeah, we'll do some, instead of vicarious liability, we'll do some vicarious learning. But as soon as I hear anything, y'all, I promise, honestly, actually, I have not Googled in like a day or two. So, oh, wait, hold on. Give me a second. Let me just show y'all where you can, because if you ever want to check this out, you know, I don't keep anything to myself. You are more than welcome to go check it out. But this is the page. And as you can see down bottom, on the 14th was when the last session was held. You can even watch the entirety of the lawyers. Oh, you should have heard. Oh, I watched it all. You should have heard the lawyer for the Jehovah's Witnesses. POS. What a POS. So I'm really hoping that they stick it to them. And the people on the Supreme Court, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me they were trying to help the victims. Like they were trying to help explain it to make it make sense why you could hold an elder vicariously liable. And I was like, oh, wow, it seems like they're actually trying to make this go through. So y'all watch it and tell me what you think. But if you want to go take a look, I'll make sure I put this link in the bio, or here I can just put it right in the damn chat, so y'all can just look at it yourself if you like.
Well, why don't we also put it in the description for those who may watch this video later, so that way there's always access to it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that, we're gonna go ahead and end this show here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another edition of Apostate Weekly. And we will be back next week at the same bat time and the same bat channel. So as always, thank you for watching.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.